Hello, everyone. Welcome to Overselling Parts Unknown, a YouTube channel where we discuss wrestling and nothing else but wrestling. My name is Bro with Glasses, and today I am joined by my co-host, The Insanity. How you doing, brother?
Um, I think I'm doing great. Probably. I want to say yes. No, just like that movie, Wolverine and Deadpool. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, man. Let's fucking go. So we have a very large task ahead of us today. I contacted my man right here, and I said, "How do you feel about going back and watching the Attitude Era?" Because for me, I'm a little disenfranchised with the current state of wrestling. It's not doing a lot for me. It's very predictable. The excitement levels kind of falter, they go up and down. So I decided it would be fun to go back and experience the glory days of pro wrestling at its hottest. And like everything in life, it's fun when you do it with other people. Here we have the Insanity joining me on the ride.
Now, I will tell you this much. Um, I don't want to out anybody's age, but there's definitely an age gap between the hosts. The reason why I know this is because where my man is always talking about the message boards, I laugh because if you talk about Attitude Era and fan reaction, there's no such thing as message boards. Internet was still pretty early. Nobody was going to be downloading Sonny's picture in under a minute. That was you. That was an hour job at best.
Dial up.
Yeah, if you're lucky, you had dial up. If not, you had something else. You had the AOL disk and you hoped for the best. So most of the time, you either kept track on. Usually, you had a good friend who recorded the pay-per-views, or you had somebody who literally was like a huge fan of like wrestling newsletters or magazines. It really depended on who you knew and what they had access to.
Well, I was born in 1994, so the Attitude Era pretty much passed me by. So everything I'm gonna watch moving forward is new to me.
The positive is that you literally are skipping the most boring parts of the pre-attitude era. The downside is there was some quality gems in it. And yes, I will throw hands if we have conversations about how Bret Hart is overrated.
So, starting off this long road will be WrestleMania 14, which I will consider the official start of the Attitude Era, as we see a lot of future stars that have become icons today really gain steam um, during this period. And this is where it all started at this WrestleMania.
Not only that, but honestly, a good portion of WWE programming, including pay-per-views.
Yeah, programming that we will be watching moving forward, because after this show, we will be reviewing every Raw, pay per view, and SmackDown week by week. So if you guys enjoy it, subscribe and stay tuned for more.
And there's no such thing as a bad comment, although we will occasionally make fun of the dumb ones.
Okay, so without further ado, let's get into the show. WrestleMania 14, taking place on March 29th, 1998, in Boston, Massachusetts. The show opens up with a nice little video package talking about the dawn of a new era that breaks tradition, a new era that emphasizes youth, attitude, but it will blaze a new path that will honor the prior lineage. This is a very nice video package. What do you think about this?
Honestly, I always thought WWE was really good at pulling off video packages in the mid 90s, even a little bit before it. I don't even know how long it's been since they started doing great video packages, but you can literally like see a lot of the pre-attitude era where they killed it. So the fact that by the time they even got to the attitude era, I think they pretty much perfected what they wanted to tell before every pay-per-view and every show. This one is especially telling because if you actually watch like it from beginning to end, they set it up pretty well. Not only showcasing the tradition that they started, but essentially setting up that, hey, we're going to throw a lot of those rules out the window, and with the later pay-per-views and the later shows.
The show opens with a performance by the DX band. Do you know about this?
I didn't. The stream I saw literally starts with a 15-man battle royal.
Ah, see, if you were there live, the DX band did a cover of America the Beautiful, and it was so bad they cut it from the home video release and the WWE Network version. You can find it on YouTube, and at the end of it, they get booed out of the building. It is terrible. Like, I guess how bad it was. Now, whoever idea it was to have a grunge rock band perform a national anthem should have gotten fired.
I mean, to be fair, when you're trying to tell people you're not doing a traditional setup anymore, using a grunge band to do America the Beautiful does actually apply in that scenario. I think it's just one of those things where you're like, well, they sound great doing the DX song. Maybe they'll be great doing other songs. And sometimes that's not always the case. And unfortunately, this is one of those cases. Fun fact, for the longest time, I honestly had no idea that the DX band was like somebody else. I honestly thought they were Rage Against the Machine because I hadn't even heard of any songs from Rage Against the Machine. So when I finally heard them, I was like, wow, the DX band sounds pretty similar. Was that how they started?
Well, that was kind of like the point, because Rage Against the Machine was a very popular thing back then. So it wouldn't surprise me if they went out looking for bands who had a similar sound, because, we can copy that without having to, actually pay, the real band for some of their shit. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, all right, that makes way more sense then. Because I will admit that they really did sound pretty similar. So
okay, so you ready to get into the show?
Absolutely.
All right, so the show starts off with a 15-team tag team battle royal where the winner gets a title shot at the next pay-per-view, which is Unforgiven.
Do you love how like nobody gets an entrance at the start of the show? They were all off-screen entrances.
Yes, the quote jobber entrance. Well, we do get at least two entrances. We get LOD, who come out last, and we get Farouk and Kama Mustafa coming out as the Nation of Domination.
That was such an under radar type entrance. That's how bad I was when it came to remembering that.
I mean, you wouldn't have noticed if they even didn't come out without the entrance. I mean, obviously the LOD, aka Legion of Doom 2000, they have Sonny with them. They're really like the only guys here who like have any kind of presence, any kind of popularity. So it wasn't a surprise that they kind of like were the favorite team going into this match. Also, did you notice that at the Nation of Domination and Los Barriquas have four guys in this match? Like
Yes.
That seems kind of unfair to me. I don't know about you.
Like, can you honestly point out any person in that match that literally stands out? You would say to yourself, "Man, that guy might win this match tonight."
No,
because look at that LOD entrance. They came out with spectacle. They tried to go with like a futuristic version of Mad Max. Sonny has fire boobs.
Yeah, Sonny is dressed like a fucking just like a fucking Mortal Kombat character. She looks cool though. I'll give her that.
Are you sure about that?
I was trying to be nice.
No, I'm not. Honestly, the nicest thing you can say about Sonny is, man, the cocaine hasn't taken all of its effect yet.
The match has a rule where only one member of your team needs to get eliminated, which is very confusing. Like halfway through the match, D'Lo Brown gets thrown out, but Mark Henry doesn't realize it. So like he's in the corner, like mixing it up with like Bob Holly, who has long hair. And Bob Holly is like, "Hey, Mark, you gotta get out the match." And he throws Mark Henry through the middle rope, and he could have told him to get out.
Yeah, I'm shocked none of the referees told him that, because he does stay longer in the match than he should. But how about the fact that you have Bob Holly and Bart Gunn as the most under the radar tag team when you think about it, because you literally had Bart Gunn, who's already won 2 or 3 titles with Billy Gunn as part of the Smoking Guns. And then you have Bob Holly, who literally had the most awkward persona in the history of WWE and the NASCAR gimmick. And you just made this ad hoc team, and you don't even mention they've existed already. That's how good WWE's like propaganda machine is at this point. That they're literally like they're new people. They're not even like a new persona of this old look.
There's way too many teams to cover, so we're just gonna kind of skip to the ending here, which comes between the new Midnight Express, which is Bob Holly and Bart Gunn, and the Legion of Doom. Legion of Doom pretty much beat their ass. They get all their spots in and throw the Midnight Express out, and they are very much over with the crowd.
Did you love how some of those eliminations were for people who aren't even a part of the match?
Yes, I think there were like at least 2 separate run-ins. I believe what was his name? Barry Windham, I think, ran in.
Yep, that was one of them. And then
I can't believe you
who was the other
employed.
one?
I it was Chains, right?
He was still part of it.
Was it Chains?
No, he was actually in the match.
Oh,
Apparently he was with Bradshaw. So apparently he was a part of that's the other thing. You two of the actual teams that were just thrown together. You have Bradshaw and Chains, and then you have literally Steve Blackman and Flash Funk.
I mean, that was the state of their tag team division, which it was like at that point was non-existent.
Honestly, that would have been better off just having a fatal 4-way match. But instead of like the 4-way, you basically just have literally like an elimination match or even a gauntlet match, and just have LAD come out and just win anyway. Because that's literally how useless this match was with that. The fact that you had 4 people literally come down and just throw teams out.
Yeah, it was just way too many people to cover and not enough cameras to go around.
That's all I was saying. They should have just said, we're going to have a mystery team at this match, and just made it a fatal 4-way, because honestly, those are the only people that really mattered at the end of the day.
All right, so with that match in the can, we get a video package featuring some of the weekend festivities. We see wrestlers signing autographs. Stone Cold is on Regis and Kelly. Regis Philbin, RIP, very big wrestling fan. They show us a clip of the DX public workout where I believe Shawn Michaels got a battery thrown at him. Do you remember this?
I didn't even know he got a battery thrown at him. I remember that was when they humiliated Austin, but I didn't know he got a battery thrown at him.
Yeah, I believe that was when they first came out. I think it hit him in the head or like got close to him. He got pissed and like ran to the back, and like Triple H had to calm him down to bring him back out. History. So next up is the light heavyweight championship match. Taka Michinoku versus Aguila. Insanity, do you know who Aguila is?
I honestly, when I first saw him, I was like, man, is that supposed to be Psychosis's or Jushin Thunder Liger's apprentice? Because honestly, like, you could have confused me the whole time with that.
Aguila would go on to become S.A. Rios.
I know you can't see it right now, but my eyes are wide.
Yeah. What? S.A. Rios, the red-headed Latin luchador who stuck around for about 2 more years, probably around, I think he got let go around mid-2000. But he was most known for bringing in Lita, who will go on to become one of the more popular females of this time period. So yeah, that's
ECW original Lita.
Yeah, Miss Congeniality, which is one of the worst names I've probably ever heard for a female wrestler.
I mean, considering how she literally got started and what the name technically implies, then that makes sense.
Aguila gets the jobber entrance at WrestleMania, which sucks. Taka Michinoku comes out. I love his theme song, by the way. What about you?
I was always in between on it, but then again, probably the first and last time that Taka Michinoku is going to get respect. So yeah. I didn't really hate it.
In the Japan version of the song, he has like an intro where he says, "Taka is coming, motherfucker." I'm like, oh, bro, that's hard as shit. Too bad he's kind of a joke, you know.
Wait, did they let that go in WWE?
No,
They let that
no,
play out in Japanese?
that was the only. Yeah, that was only the Japanese version.
Okay, that makes sense. Japan does it because most of the people I know who have been in Japan's culture, especially when it comes to like certain, they pretty much allow certain shit to happen just because of the fact that it's what the crowd is going for. So like they don't really care about like throwing out like middle fingers or whatnot.
Aguila is 19 years old here. They make sure to mention that, which is pretty big for a wrestler that young to get a match at WrestleMania. Despite it meaning nothing.
Did you count the number of times they said 19?
You definitely could have made it a drinking game.
Yeah, it was like 8 times.
So Aguila hits a beautiful moonsault to Taka on the outside. Taka responds with a flying cross body, gets a massive hang time on that. Aguila hits a middle rope arm drag, corkscrew over to the outside. Hurricane Rana reversed into a power bomb by Taka for a 2 count, and Aguila takes control after Taka misses a moonsault.
Fun fact: did you know this was a light heavyweight match for the title?
Yes, this was WWE's. Well, I'm sorry. This was WWF's response to the cruiserweights over in WCW.
What the difference between the cruiserweights and light heavyweight championship is?
Um, the cruiserweights actually got pay-per-view matches.
Close. The cruiserweights also were elevated somewhat. Like you actually, when they said, "Hey, this is an actual cruiserweight match," you didn't just hear cruiserweight match to start the match and end the match. Usually, you heard it throughout the match, like, "Hey, this is for a title. This is going to be an important match." Not Jerry Lawler talking shit to the point where not only is he shitting on smaller wrestlers, but he is seriously using old school racist terms in the
Yeah,
most subtle way possible.
I definitely heard him say something about like jumping the border.
Yeah, it was that, and he said something else, but I didn't really recall it because I just rolled my eyes after the first one.
Aguila attempts a top rope crossbody that leads into a drop kick by Taka. Taka Michinoku hits the Michinoku driver for the 3 count. This would be the only light heavyweight title defense at WrestleMania, and that's pretty much the peak for this
Yeah,
belt.
that's the last time people give a shit about the light heavyweight title in WWE.
And which is weird because it sticks around for like a long time after this.
To be fair, it's like the secondary titles that they have in the 2000s, where WWE sometimes forgets that they had them. So a lot of times you wouldn't even hear them, let alone get them defended on different pay-per-views.
I don't think they forgot. They just didn't care.
Oh, they definitely forgot that's how bad their care for it was. That they were like, we forgot we even had a light heavyweight title, because they literally only mentioned it twice, and this is probably the most respectful match they're gonna have for the light heavyweight title.
I have a little segment I want to call a sign watch, where I'll point out some various signs in the crowd that I seen. Nothing in particular about this, but I did spot a Rob Van Dam sign in the middle of this match, and I spotted one later. So Rob Van Dam making waves in Boston.
There was also an ECW one, just straight ECW.
So we cut to an interview with Jennifer Flowers, who was one of Bill Clinton's side pieces. She's interviewing The Rock, which it all leads up to like an oral sex joke. The only reason why
She
she's
was the
here.
one she was the one that interviewed. I could have sworn that was one of the on-air personalities. The one that interviews The Rock was one of the on-air personalities that supposedly got sexually harassed in her time with WWE or WWF.
No.
Or am I thinking of somebody else?
You're thinking of somebody else. I can't remember her name, but you're thinking of somebody else.
I could have sworn her name was Victoria.
No. This is Jennifer Flowers.
So I'm not gonna lie to you, I wasn't even entirely paying attention to who was doing the interview. I was cringing too hard on most of the answers because I had a feeling it was a setup for something else, and of course they took a shot at the Clinton scandal.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty much it. That's why I really didn't pay this any mind. Next match is for the European title. Triple H versus Owen Hart, the last remaining Hart in the WWF. The DX plant, the DX band plays Triple H to the ring. He gets the instrumental version because they're saving the lyrical version for Shawn later. Triple H is still in his Hunter Hearst Helmsley phase. He has the black pants, large coat, and he keeps his look for a little bit longer.
Shall I say? I wouldn't say it's not a complete departure from his Triple H gimmick, because if you think about it, when he does the Hunter Hearst Helmsley gimmick, he was really closer to like a proper gentleman type look. You know, the type of person that you would see hunt humans for sport.
No, I was just agreeing with you. It was like, yeah, he was
Uh,
more like a aristocrat.
yeah, and basically by the time he really starts up with Shawn, that's really when he starts taking that departure where he's not even really the prim and proper individual. He starts going more crass, like something that.
Yeah, I was referring more so to his gear, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, because if you look away, even with his gear, he's not going to really get rid of the tights until he starts to become the corporate champion.
He's with China. China here looks amazing. This is pre-surgery. You know, when she still had like the square jawline, they were like the super tan. Hey, you laughing, bro? But I thought she looked fine here. You know, I think really when she like got all that work done is when like she really just kind of fell apart for me in particular. But I
I mean,
guess to each their own.
you could have gone either way. Honestly, it's really if you are okay with a muscly woman like that. I mean, super muscly. She kind of had managed features before and after the surgery, so just to let you know, like, are you into it? Fine. I'm not hating either way.
She will be handcuffed to Sergeant Slaughter to prevent interference, which, as we know in wrestling, always works.
I
Um,
will I will say this much: her getting handcuffed to Slaughter was equivalent of literally a unruly child or a person literally trying to teach a dog impulse training. That's literally how it felt the entire match. Because you think about it, every time she's about to do something, he'd yank her away and be like, "No, you know what you did wrong."
yeah, like how about like handcuffing her to like a barricade and not like a fat old man, something she can't pull away from.
Yeah, because no offense to Slaughter, by that point he's already had enough injuries and he's enough time away from being an in ring like competitor that there's no way in hell he had that much like strength training still. Because they even made references that supposedly she can bench like 250 or more. So I'm like, you're telling me she can't just drag him around the ring? Like, the fuck is that?
Owen Hart comes into the match with an ankle injury that he's been selling for the past couple of weeks. This is also Owen Hart's last WrestleMania match for obvious reasons. Match starts. Owen is giving Triple H the business for the first few minutes. Triple H takes control, working the ankle, jumping knee from Triple H. Crowd not really into this one. They love Owen, but Triple H wasn't really over on his own at the time.
I will admit this much: that was probably one of the better technical matches of the whole night.
Oh, I mean, from a technical standpoint, yes. As far as like heat, very little.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you in terms of heat, yeah, but that's only because of the fact that you already had like two matches that you're going to eventually put all of your emotion in. So I wouldn't hate, but I think this was right where it is because of the fact that you needed that level of wrestling to kind of keep the match going, like keep the show going.
Owen mounts a comeback, belly to belly slam, jumping heel kick, enziguri, but he only gets a two. Owen finally gets the sharpshooter on Triple H, and China helps Triple H reach the rope despite Slaughter supposedly being there to stop her from doing that.
Did you see where she was hiding that salt?
I did not get a good look, but judging from how tight her pants were, she had very few options.
If anybody even has the slightest idea how she hid that, put that in the comments somewhere because I watched that multiple times and literally slowed it down. I still have no idea where she got the salt, where she was hiding it. Like I even made a joke at one point in my head. I was like, I'm pretty sure she's hiding this underneath her penis. Because at one point there's a shot where he literally goes to the match. And then at one point, it goes to look at her and Slaughter from the outside, and Slaughter's got his eyes on the match. He's not even paying attention, which makes sense. This is supposed to be where the spot's supposed to happen. And she's literally fiddling with something. You're like, where did she get that? And it's almost looking like she's like mixing powder at that point or mixing something. And then the next second, she's got this baggie of like what looks like flour. She just chucks it in his face. And that leads to the finish. And it's like, where did that sequence happen? Like where do you even get the bag?
I mean, as far as I know, she just pulled it out of her inventory. Distraction lets Triple H hit the pedigree. 1, 2, 3. Crowd is pissed that Owen didn't win, but I think we all kind of expected this.
Honestly, it definitely served its purpose. I wasn't really too sad about the whatchamacallit. Like, I think it was just there to get people to hate Triple H just a little bit more.
I mean, China's has been with him for like what, like a year now. I figured this was like the status quo.
Yeah, I think if it was one of those where like Hunter beat him cleanly, like what he did to Booker T at one of the WrestleManias, I think it would have been shitty, I guess the word I want to use, compared to how like this one, it makes more sense to have that shenanigans because now you can essentially have some more hate like you can manufacture from that.
Well, hopefully Owen Hart can get his revenge going forward. We'll see. Next match is a mixed tag. Mark Merrow and Sable versus Goldust and Luna.
As I like to call it, the start of the cuckold era.
You know, I was having that same thought, and I wouldn't really call Mark Merrow a cuck in this situation.
I wouldn't call him a cuck, but the way they're literally going to book it, it makes sense.
Oh yeah. I mean, like the way they're booking him is like a cuck, but I wouldn't really call him one because that would imply that there's another man in Sable's life, which I don't believe there is.
No. That's what makes it even worse because this is the template they're going to use for every goddamn gimmick where they decide the female of any faction is going to go ahead and break apart. They kind of started it with Sunny, but Sunny's kind of still traditionally the eye candy that you're going to watch, like the typical diva. She's just there to make a tag team or group look a little bit better. With Sable, this is where you're going to start to see the whole, like, if this chick is popular enough or this female is popular enough, it's essentially going to be like, oh, she's with a male superstar. No, he's going to not only take a back seat, but she's going to literally cuck him without actually cheating on him.
Sounds about right.
They almost made it feel like that even during the match, because Mark Merrow was giving Goldust the business. And at one point in the match, it almost seemed like every time he wanted to tag Sable in, when she tagged herself in, she was taking his balls with her. And then every time he had to tag her in, he had to kind of get them back from her. How do you not describe this as a burial of Mark Merrow? Honestly.
Oh, it completely was.
That's what it felt like.
The promo package they played before the match was basically telling you how much Mark Merrow sucks and how cool Sable is. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but the angle is that Mark Merrow basically becomes friends with Luna and Goldust, so Luna can beat up Sable. Did I get that right?
Yeah, that was some of the whatchamacallit. I was reading into it because I had to kind of research this a little bit because of how much I wasn't watching during this time frame. But apparently he was literally trying to put her in her place, especially because of the fact that she was getting too popular. WWF at this point decided, screw it. She's going to overcome it, but she's going to overcome it by literally emasculating Mark Merrow. Which I didn't think, if you're gonna talk him down, be like, all right, here's the villain getting his comeuppance. It's not like, man, she's gonna take his manhood, she's gonna take his soul, she's gonna take his life, and then she's gonna take her popularity.
And she is definitely over. Can't deny that for a second. So for what it's worth, Mark Merrow and Goldust are putting in some decent ring work, but really this whole match is here to build up Sable's moment, you know, that ultimate hot tag. By the way, did you notice Goldust in the fucking Wolfpack face paint, red and black?
I honestly thought he had a grave face paint.
No, it was black and red. Like he actually beat Sting to the punch by at least like a few months. I thought that was funny. Sable gets the hot tag. Crowd goes fucking crazy. Catfight spot, roll around, tug the hair. Sable is dragging Luna's ass all over the place. Sable knocks out Goldust with a clothesline, knocks Luna over the top rope. Again, crowd, loves her. Like she can do no wrong.
I will say this match that I mean say this much. They didn't really explain the rules of the intergender match because, and this is something that we have for future mixed tag matches. They always say like, oh, so when the other person tags in, or when one of the people tags in, the other person's got to get out. Period. And yet, at different times in this match, you're gonna see the women, or especially Sable, literally attack the dude. In this case, Goldust, and somehow they just don't throw the match out. They literally like, nah, we're good. You can hit whoever you want. Who cares?
Well,
and at that point, I'm like, what was the point of that?
I mean, they've always played loose with like mixed tag rules because like that is like the main thing because they don't want to have like man on like woman violence. But if the female can get like a little spot in, like a body splash or like a DDT or something on the man, it's like they'll let it slide because it looks cool. But it doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, but that's like the one rule they have where if an illegal person's out for too long, they'll eventually throw the match out. Like they just ignore that one too. It's like the referee's like, no, he'll literally start counting in front of him. And I think he usually gets to like a 6 count. It's like, all right, you should probably just go ahead and disqualify them at this point. Like, what's the whole point of the match? Do we even care about the rules anymore?
No, they don't care about the rules because they apply the rules whenever it comes to certain scenarios. So it might work for one match, but not for another match because, well, that's not what's in the script.
Listen, all I'm saying is I'm tired of this bullshit. I want some goddamn integrity in refereeing.
TKO by Mark Merrill to Goldust, which is the fireman's carry into a cutter. Sable tries to steal Mark Merrill's pin, but dodges Luna, who comes off the top rope with a splash to break it up. Sable bomb for a 2, which is a regular power bomb. Luna gets the heat on Sable. Sable reverses a move into her own TKO for the 3 count.
I will admit, even for a woman that hasn't actually like had too many matches under her belt at that point, that was a pretty good looking TKO. I've seen worse.
I give all credit to Luna for bumping her ass off.
I don't care. The fact that at the end of the day, I've seen women who've had way less experience, especially if you watch wrestling long enough, where it's like, wow, you almost killed that person. And I will go ahead and mention names. Hi, Bellas. Allegedly. Yeah, there's been some women that you'll see them pull off certain moves and you're like, yeah, you just killed somebody. You're a detriment to the ring. You need to get out now. But Sable did a pretty good job of not killing her opponent.
It made her look like $1 million. I don't know what other matches she has in her career, but this is probably the best one she'll ever have.
I would say it's up there. She does get better over time.
But I mean, as far as like in ring, like does it get better than this? I don't think so. Tennessee Lee is out here to introduce Jennifer Flowers and Jeff Jarrett. How do you feel about Tennessee Lee?
I liked him better when he was Elvis's manager.
I found the way he talks very funny. He puts like this emphasis on his words. Like it sounds kind of like a horse. When they go Hoo. So it's like when he's talking, it's like, me, this is Jeff Jarrett, the greatest singer in the world. I'm like, bro, it must be so tiring to talk like that every like single week. I don't know how he does it.
I was honestly thinking he was trying to go for the traditional like Texas gentleman, but now that you've said that, I'm never getting that out of my head. Now I'm picturing a horse in a traditional Southern outfit
with a little bolo and cowboy hat. I was about to get pissed off because I saw Jeff Jarrett. I'm like, oh, is he going to sing? Thankfully not. He just brought Jennifer Flowers out here to be the guest announcer for our next match, which is the IC title match, The Rock versus Ken Shamrock.
I will admit that match was better than I thought it was going to be.
It made Ken Shamrock look like a beast.
Honestly, I'll say this much: he was pretty average in his MMA career. I don't care who wants to argue that. We can. He's always been a guy who did a pretty good job of actually looking and like assimilating into the wrestling scene, especially because of the fact he did a pretty good job of selling a whole psychopath who could professionally murder you.
Yeah, he would come out, stand on the steps, like you gotta punch his head and go, ah!
Now, how many times did you see Kurt Angle in that gimmick?
Oh, bro, I never thought about. You know what? You make a great point. The fucking yeah.
Not only that, but every time the WWE would later on do a professional psychopath, they're channeling Ken Shamrock. It's literally right there.
The Nation comes out first. Rock is the IC champion. He's still wearing the classic Intercontinental title, which will be the last time that we see it. How do you feel about the design of that belt?
All right, this is where I'm going to be showing some level of ignorance. I literally wasn't even paying attention to the title belts, especially when you look at the Raw after and that Raw before. I literally I couldn't even tell the difference.
So this belt in particular has been around pretty much since the WWF got started. This is, I mean, I don't know if this is the same copy, but like this particular design has been held by Savage, Warrior, Steamboat, and all Honky Tonk, all those guys up until now, and a lot of people hold this in regards as like the best like IC title design of all time. No Farouk out here. The entire nation is out here with The Rock, but no Farouk. The Rock has been
Spoiler warning.
The Rock has been getting very cocky as of late, and Farouk isn't liking what he sees. The build up for this match involves one of the nastiest chair shots in WWE history. You've probably seen this one where Shamrock is on his knees and he's like, "Go ahead, give it to me." The Rock cracks him, bro, square in the face. Surprised he did not break a facial bone, but Ken Shamrock made it out all right.
Fun fact: how much do you know about chair shots from that era?
I know there's some nasty ones, and there are some other ones that were pretty sick that you never hear about that we'll talk about in the future.
So I was watching interviews and behind the scenes stuff for different wrestlers, especially during that time frame. It almost seems like all the companies kind of followed the same format with how they did chair shots. WWE/WWF, particularly, their mindset was essentially you grit your teeth, put your head down, and try to stiffen up as much as possible and just take a chair shot to the top of the head. Now, Shamrock, as much as I love the man, in real life is a legit psychopath because he told The Rock during that match, he said, "Hey, just hit me as hard as you can." And that is the reason why Rock at one point just takes his shot and hits him in the face. Now, you can tell that Rock holds back a little bit, but at the end of the day, that man still took an unprotected chair shot to the face. Not the head, the face.
The face.
The fact that he even still looks that decent and doesn't have a broken nose is not only a testament to The Rock, but a testament to Ken Shamrock's toughness.
The match gets going. Ken Shamrock is dominating with slams. Rock mounts a comeback, hits the people's elbow early on to a mild reaction. Shamrock throws Rock to the outside, and there's still like salt all over the floor from earlier. Shamrock grabs a chair, even though you can't win the belt by DQ. Shamrock shoves the ref. Rock gets his hands on the chair. He cracks the shit out of Shamrock, who actually leans into the chair shot. Shamrock throws a drop kick, body slam, ankle lock, and the Rock taps out very quickly. Shamrock is the new IC champ within 5 minutes. Chaos erupts after the match. Shamrock belly to bellies the entire nation. Crowd is going crazy. He puts The Rock back in the ankle lock. Farouk comes out. I love the visual here. The Rock is in the ankle lock, bleeding from the mouth, crying for help. Shamrock is looking like a madman. And Farouk says, "Fuck you, Rock," with the arm motion. Huge pop for that. The refs come out and try to stop Shamrock. He's taking everyone to Suplex City. Then Howard Finkel announces that the OG ref has reversed the decision, and The Rock is still IC champ because Ken Shamrock wouldn't calm down and let go of the ankle lock. Crowd boos the shit out of this, and rightly so. Shamrock attacks The Rock, who was being taken away on a stretcher. Quick match with a very horseshit ending. Thoughts?
Shout out to Mark Henry. You took a suplex like a man, and you let Ken Shamrock look like $1 million, despite the fact that you probably could have slammed him harder than he slammed you. So just shout out to that little bit of greatness.
Thoughts on the match?
Not bad. I mean, not gonna lie to you, it was a trash ending, but to be fair, I think that was what they were trying to go for. Especially because at one point, if you remember, Fruit does come down even during the match, and Rock thinks he's gonna get help. But you notice how he's literally walking out in just jeans. So he literally foreshadows the next night's Raw and pretty much the whole feud.
Because of the jeans?
Yeah. What is he not wearing?
A shirt? I don't know.
Good point. I was going to say he doesn't have anything that looks like Nation of Domination attire. He literally just comes out in the plainest blue jeans, no shirt, and literally has just good looking shoes on. He's essentially telling you, yeah, not only am I not going to be a part of the Nation at any point, but I definitely don't want to be a part of the Nation with you.
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah. I literally, like, the first time I saw it, and this is another scenario where just catching up to it, I was like half asleep, but I rewatched it a couple of times. I was like, oh shit, he's literally telling people that he's not going to be a part of the Nation much longer.
Yeah, so it should be interesting to see where this turns out between The Rock and Farouk. Next match is for the WWF Tag Team titles. New Age Outlaws, Road Dogg and Billy Gunn versus Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie, who I'm just going to call Terry Funk.
You might as well, because apparently the WWE doesn't even give a shit that he's called Chainsaw Charlie during the whole match.
He comes out wearing a Funk University shirt. And yeah. Lawler even said, "Oh, that's Terry Funk. We were fighting, back in the territories." I'm like, all right, well, fuck it then. He's Terry Funk.
Did you see his introduction as Chainsaw Charlie, like the actual bot that led to him being Chainsaw Charlie?
Yes, they had him they brought him to the stage in a wooden box, and he cut his way out with the chainsaw. And he had
trying to look like the most knockoff Texas Chainsaw Massacre look you possibly can get.
He had a stocking on his head. He looked stupid.
Yeah, it was terrible. In fact, the funny thing is because of how much it blocked his face, I'm pretty sure he used the Divas pantyhose the whole time. But literally, it blocked off his face enough that you really couldn't recognize that it was Terry Funk unless you literally had great eyesight.
The match gets going. They brawl for a little bit in and outside of the ring. Oh yeah, this is a dumpster match, by the way. I forgot to mention that.
Yes, and it's a literal dumpster by ringside.
So it's kind of like a casket match where it's pushed up against the side of the ring, so you can just kind of throw them in there, but you have to get both members of the team and close the little flaps. So
did you love the fact that the flaps don't stay down at all?
No, they don't. Cactus takes a really stupid bump early on. I know it's Foley, but even for him, this was kind of stupid. Billy Gunn, no, it's Road Dogg leaning back first against the dumpster. Cactus is on the apron. He does a somersault, to, I guess, try to smack Road Dogg against the dumpster. But Billy Gunn baseball slides Road Dogg out of the way and Cactus just kind of fumbles against the dumpster and falls on his head at ringside.
I did love the psychology behind it a little bit.
They continue to brawl. Cactus Jack pulls out a ladder for no other reason for this next spot. So he climbs one side of the ladder to do what? Maybe a cactus elbow. Billy Gunn joins him on the other side. What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say, do you mind if I cut you off just a
Sure.
little bit? You missed the part where Terry Funk gets thrown into the dumpster first, and then basically they throw it down on him, and then before you even get to the ladder spot, Terry Funk just completely disregards getting thrown into the dumpster with the lid thrown on top of him. So he's not even out of the match. He's literally thrown into the dumpster. Dumpster drops on him, like the lid drops on him, and then it's like, oh, okay, you're not out of the match. It's not Cactus Jack by himself. It's literally now I can jump out at some point, and he does for the rest of the match.
Well, yeah, because you have to get both opponents in there.
Yes, but it's what was it, like at least with a cactus a casket match when somebody's put in and they close it, that guy's at least somewhat eliminated.
Well, casket matches are also usually 1-on-1.
It would have. I think it would have been like more impressive if they had Cactus win it by himself, especially because later on in the match, Terry Funk doesn't do too much more.
Terry Funk is also old as dirt. He's like, I believe he's like 54, 55 here. So he really can't do much. Cactus and Gunn are on top of the ladder. Road Dogg smacks Terry Funk in the head, who stumbles back, knocks over the ladder, and sends Gunn and Cactus Jack over the top rope and into the dumpster. The flaps were closed, by the way, so they fell through those little like rubber through that little rubber top.
That was literally the cheapest plastic you can get your hands on. Come on, man.
Also, did you see how Cactus Jack fell in the dumpster?
I know it was super awkward.
So when they show the replay, you can see that as he's coming down, his ankle clips the side as he's coming down, and like I know that shit had to hurt.
Cause I might have blocked that out.
Yeah, I mean, like they played a spot like three different times, and like once in slow mo, and you can see his ankle kind of like bounce off the metal before he falls in. So
I definitely blocked that out.
Yeah, I don't know if he was hurting after that, but he definitely continued the match.
He was definitely hurting. That was just one of the things they did. The show must always go on.
They do make their way out of the dumpster. They fight their way out. The Outlaws powerbomb Terry Funk into the dumpster, and they brawl with Cactus backstage. It's now 2-on-1. Cactus fights them off, hits them with a chair, and loads them onto a wooden pallet that's connected to a forklift. Similar to how it is in Here Comes the Pain, if you ever played that game, Terry Funk hops into the forklift, lifts it up, drives
Terry Funk out of nowhere.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, he fucking like spawns backstage.
Yeah,
he hops into the forklift.
It's exactly like Here Comes the Pain.
Yeah, when you go backstage and like they walk through, it kind of like fades, and then like everyone else just kind of like comes with you automatically. That's good. What?
Because that was the one part I did like, the fact that you barely see him walk into the frame, and you're like, wait, I thought he was still dead ringside. What is he doing back here?
Funk drives the Outlaws over to another dumpster that's backstage, drops them in there. Cactus closes it, and Funk traps them by placing the lift on top of the dumpster. And they win, new WWF Tag Team Champions.
My only caveat, at least in terms of the finish, was what place has a dumpster that large? Correct me, anybody who wants to, that's fine. But I don't know of too many places that have, like, I don't even think I've seen dumpsters that industrial. Like, usually if there's a dumpster, it's only like at highest, it's like maybe 7 foot. That thing was at least 10 foot tall.
There was a big ass dumpster. Well, I would assume for like the stadium shows, they would have bigger ones because they got to clear so much area. But I couldn't tell you per se. I was gonna say, did you also see the bruise that Terry Funk had on his lower hip? That looked nasty.
Not until they pointed it out on the next night.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like a really big patch of discolored skin. I don't know where he caught it from, but it might have been the power bomb. I'm not sure.
I honestly, the biggest things I could have gotten it from was not the powerbomb spot, the part where he fell into the dumpster at least twice, because he gets chucked in there a bunch of times, so it could have been a bad landing. Um, he took a few awkward. He himself took a few awkward landings. If you watch throughout the match, like how he takes a suplex, how he takes whatnot, it's almost like Flair like how
Oh,
he
how
takes
how
some awkward spots.
how he like does it on his hip and not his back.
Pretty much. Um, the one problem I did actually have with that match is the psychology behind it. What the hell was the whole point of taking the match to the back? What from the Outlaws' perspective? Like you were dominating the match up until that point. You could have just chucked Mick Foley in there and called it a day.
Well, I think it's just one of those things where I don't. Well, I mean, I can't really answer that. I
Yeah.
can't. I can't.
All right, I can understand the Shamrock thing. Like we can call that a bullshit ending, but you can understand why they want to like not give him the title back so soon. But this was probably the bigger faux pas in every sense of the word. They literally said, "Screw it, we'll take you to the back." When in actuality, it could have ended that match like 5 minutes earlier.
Well. I mean, all I can say is it was a goofy little hardcore match. Plunder and garbage. I don't want to apply logic to matches like that. It's just for fun. So I think we're getting close to the end of the card here. Next up is Undertaker versus Kane. Two
Isaac Yankem and the
guys.
Max.
Isaac Yankem and them. Isaac Yankem, aka Fake Diesel, aka Undertaker's brother.
I think he did a great job of making his teeth look better, especially since they were so ugly when he was a dentist.
These two guys need no introduction. Kane made his debut at Bad Blood 1997, taking out Undertaker with a tombstone and helping Shawn Michaels win. Taker spends weeks refusing to fight Kane, who is the scorn to burn the victim when Taker burned down the funeral home that killed their parents, which I'm a little confused about because I think it was retconned into Paul Bearer being their dad, right?
Sort of. I don't know. They retcon the shit out of like both their guys' like backstories. Isn't this like the supposed start of the tragedies because of the special date that Kane hates?
No, that's not until years later.
Yeah, but this is like the first reference of it, and then they won't actually like retcon, or shall I say, rewrite the entire thing until like later in the 2000s.
Honestly, I'm not sure. We're just gonna have to keep watching and just check for the inconsistencies. But I
How
do remember at some point them being like Paul Bearer is Kane's dad, which will make him Undertaker's dad. But they said that their parents were dead, so I don't know what's going on here.
Kane's entrance at Bad Blood was literally the second most badass cage dismantling to get inside of a cage from any wrestler.
And you know what? I already know who you're gonna say number one is
Mark Henry.
Mark Henry, SmackDown, 2005.
That's even better than Paul White's entrance into a steel cage because he actually ripped a legit padlock off.
So Kane basically spent the following months after Bad Blood, breathing down Taker's neck, asking for a match. So now Taker is forced to fight his brother and put an end to this misery, which, as we know in hindsight, is far from over. Um,
Did did you love the through the video package when they show the foreshadowing to the Brothers of Destruction?
which part specifically?
There's a literal spot in the video package where they show Undertaker and Kane teaming up and beating the shit out of the Disciples of the Apocalypse.
Oh yes, yes, I do remember that. I do remember that. I did again. It's one of those things that I really didn't pick up on it because it just went by so fast. But hey, that's why I'm glad you're here to kind of, what I mean, to bring up those small things like that.
Dude, that was such a beautiful, beautiful thing when you saw that. And I'm like, oh shit, they're referencing the Brothers of Destruction about a decade too earlier.
Special guest announcer for this match is Pete Rose. Now, this is where I'll let you take the floor here because I don't know shit about sports. I can tell you that I believe he was doing like some underground like sports betting, but I don't know the full story on Pete Rose.
The only part I got, because he's mostly baseball related, I don't really follow baseball nearly as much as I do hockey and football. So this is as far as I know. If I recall properly, he played for the Phillies and the Red Sox, and he would really get all of his fame from his time with the Phillies. He's still probably one of the better players in the game to not be in the Hall of Fame just because of the fact that he did some level of betting. Um, but if I remember correctly, he didn't really bet on his own game, supposedly. At least that was the rumor I heard, or at least most of the research I've gotten on him.
Um, Kane makes his entrance, hits Pete Rose with the Tombstone Power Driver, which WWE considers like one of like the greatest moments of all time. It does get a huge pop.
He
Um,
took it like a man.
the Druids come out to that one song that the WWF use in their promo packages. The Ticker comes out. Cool entrance. Nothing we haven't seen before. The match starts. Taker and Kane go blow for blow. One man not outdoing the other. Kane gets the advantage. He guillotines Taker stomach first on the top rope. So Taker is hanging there. Kane goes to the top rope, and I thought like he was about to do like the Taker leg drop, but nah, it's the fucking Kane clothesline.
I mean, technically, Taker had his own version of the Kane clothesline that Kane would eventually use in his career. This is literally the most athletic big man match you're gonna see in the entirety of the '90s until basically you would get to 2010 when guys literally like 6 foot and over and 300 pounds can jump around like cruiserweights,
Bro,
especially like Keith Lee.
speaking of athletic, did you see the spot where fucking Taker jumps on Kane's shoulders?
Yeah, I was going to talk about that. It almost looked like he was trying to do a Hurricane Rana.
That's what I thought. I'm like, Taker not built like that. And it's weird because like he jumped on like his backside.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what he was gonna do from there, but Kane just kind of like just throws him forward. That was crazy.
Those are the two of the most athletic big dudes in wrestling at that time frame. Because if you saw the spot where they're outside the ring, or Kane's on the outside of the ring, and Taker does like a suicide, almost like a top rope dive, and you
Yeah,
just see how much air he got. He got over the rope and literally went over Kane, and Kane had to play it off where he literally had to grab him and make it look like he intentionally wanted to throw him into the whatchamacallit,
they
the
now stable.
announcer's table. Just the fact that he was even able to pull that much air, let alone the fact that Kane had to literally like improvise that spot, is
Yeah,
insane.
yeah, because I mean, I don't think he was supposed to land on Kane, but like you said, Kane did a very good job of making it look like he reversed it. That's actually not the first time that Taker has done that leap. I think he did it once before at like an In Your House pay per view onto like a bunch of guys. But yeah, that will become like a regular spot of his for WrestleMania.
But the
Um,
fact that a guy, especially because if you're used to the '90s, there's not a lot of guys who can do that. Remember, for every Kevin Nash, you had a Giant Gonzalez.
you know what? I put money on Big Show. Like 97 skinny Big Show, Paul White. I'd say he could probably do like a top rope dive like that.
They said he could do a moonsault.
But
I will give him the moonsault, but clearing the ring ropes to do a dive, I don't know about that.
hey, listen, I want I'm willing to put money on it. More back and forth. Choke slam to Kane, 2 count. Tombstone, 2 count. Leg drop, second tombstone, kick out. Kane will not stay down. Flying clothesline from the top. Third tombstone gets the win, but Kane kicks out at 3, so he stays strong. Kane beats down Taker after the match. Tombstone on a steel chair, lays him out, and this is far from over.
Probably worth its secondary main event. Uh, what's the word I want to use? Secondary main event slot. Because even though it kind of like overshadows the main event a little bit, I think it's one of those matches where you kind of had to have it at the second spot, so it didn't overtake what was going to happen later in the evening.
I mean, it still does.
It doesn't really top it because if you think about the storyline you set up to that match, they were both no selling so many finishers and like main event matches that by the time you got to this point, the only people who could even reasonably stand with Taker and or Kane would have been either Austin or Michaels.
Main event, WWF title match, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Shawn Michaels. Promo package, hyping up DX and Mike Tyson. Tyson is the special enforcer for the match, and he's aligned himself with DX, stacking the deck against Austin. Stone Cold doesn't really get any love in this promo package. Like, they just show him getting his ass whooped. That's about it.
I did like the fact that they kind of give him the entrance that multiple wrestlers would copy after the fact, and that is, of course, Goldberg, Moxley, and even Samoa Joe, where basically you would have a wrestler show how badass he is because he's literally starting from the locker room. He's like, all right, let's get ready. And he's literally just running, he walking straight down with a purpose to the ring. Nothing matters.
Mike Tyson does come out first. His theme song is Fist, which is a small rendition they did just for him, and they would remix it into X-Pac's theme song.
Okay, I thought I did recognize that theme song.
Yeah. If you played WWE 13, he comes out with this song.
Tyson's in WWE 13?
Yeah, you remember like that was the whole game like based around the Attitude Era. That's when they brought in the not universe mode, but what is it? It was the mode where you can play through all of the events that happen.
I honestly didn't even play any. I haven't played a WWE game since 12, or not even 12. Wrestle no.
SmackDown versus Raw, maybe.
Scratch that. 2010 was the last time I played a wrestling game.
Oh yeah. Well, they had so WWE 13 was based around the Attitude Era, and then they had all like the popular moments and feuds you can play through. They had the APA in there, Edge and Christian, Gangrel, all those guys. They also had fucking like 2004 John Cena for some fucking reason, but yeah, WWE 13 was a very fun game just for having all those like old guys back in there. Mike Tyson also does like the funniest crotch chops I've ever seen. Cause like he makes an X with his arms and just kind of like waves them up and down with like this goofy ass smile on his face. Like, yeah, fuck it. Fuck it.
I'm not sure, but I could have sworn they almost foreshadow the way they end the match with him. Because if you see it, the look on his the look of I just don't give a shit on his match or on his face when he's walking down to that match is kind of funny as shit. Almost like he's just like, man, I'm just here for the payday and to eventually knock somebody out. It's got the kind of look on his face when you watch the Hangover.
Well, I also think he was just trying to remember his spot because like he had one job and he couldn't fuck that up. Not in the main event anyway.
I mean, you're not wrong, but he really doesn't. Well, it is a spoiler territory, but essentially, yeah, he doesn't really do too much throughout the whole match.
Well, I mean,
So
he was
what was
really only brought in as like hype because like Tyson at the time his reputation wasn't too hot with the domestic violence and all that. So
True,
basically,
but that's like 3 years removed from it.
yeah, I know, but Vince's idea was, hey, let's bring this in, let's bring this guy in to kind of feud with our top face, who's also like this badass, and let's kind of create this little like mini feud between these two. And now Tyson is going to side with Austin's ops. So now it's like Austin, like, can he beat the odds with DX and Tyson, surrounding him? That was kind of the story they told there.
I can't remember if this is before or after he bites off Holyfield's ear.
Yeah, it was in '97, June 28th. So yeah, it was already after that.
Okay.
The DX band is back for a third time tonight, doing the lyrical version of the DX theme song. You can also spot Jim Johnston playing bass. Did you see him?
I did not.
Yeah, yeah. If you
Then
go
again,
back,
I don't know what Jim Johnson looks like.
I'm gonna send you a picture of him. If somebody was like asked you to describe like a lab geek, that would be him. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention earlier with Triple H's entrance. So he does like the crotch chop pyro. They don't have the X's yet, so they just take like sparkle pyro and kind of angle it. It looks kind of shitty. I ain't gonna hold you. But Shawn Michaels here gets his like regular, sexy boy pyro where he jumps from left to right.
Yeah, that gimmick.
Match starts. Austin goes right for Michaels, gives him no room to breathe. Shawn Michaels gets his tights pulled down, full ass cheeks out.
If you didn't know, Michael's definitely free balls.
I've seen some wrestlers like Edge wear like thongs and shit. So because like wearing normal underwear would be like uncomfortable with as fuck and it would chafe. Michaels runs the ropes with his ass out and gets vaulted to the outside. Triple H blatantly attacks Austin in front of the ref. No DQ, I guess. And Mike Chioda, who's the ref, ejects Triple H and China from ringside. Austin and Michaels brawl by the entrance. Austin gets hit with a cymbal. Again, I guess this is no DQ.
The thing that I thought was funny is that they literally get thrown out on that spot, but then you'll see the referee stare at like other illegal maneuvers, and he just like almost like shakes it off. Like, man, I don't need to do that because that doesn't jive with what I'm doing right now. Like they could have done what they did in later shows and whatnot, where they say it's the referee's discretion, but they don't even mention that. Like literally, commentary doesn't even mention any of that shit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like Michaels at one point hits Austin with the ring bell. I could be wrong.
Austin literally hits Michaels enough times past the count that he probably should have been disqualified. And even Michaels did like put his foot on the ropes at one point that they should have caught, and he literally just throws it off, doesn't disqualify anybody. So again, this is another one of those like referee integrity moments.
Well, you can see that Michaels is like he's very limited. Like when he's selling, it's fine, but like when he's on offense, like the match slows down. Like you can see it in his face. He's walking funny. He's wincing, grabbing his back. Like you can tell that dude is in so much pain.
This is the match where basically, like, I think it was Austin still had problems with his neck, and Michaels had problems with his back. So the fact that they even decided to turn this into like almost like a main event MMA fight or even an old school wrestling main event fight was actually not only a smart plan, but the way they played it is even better.
I mean, they did what they could, and then I'll give props to Shawn for at least sticking it out.
Like I've heard reviews of it where they say it's meh, but honestly, I thought psychology wise they did a pretty smart job with it.
I mean,
especially
listen,
because like it is a main event match for the title, and this is literally like would Michaels be doing as much high risk shit against a wrestler like Austin, where a high risk is probably going to get you put in a stunner?
well, it really kind of makes like the middle portion of the match like non-consequential because like nothing really happens. At least until the referee gets knocked out. I do love this ending sequence. So Shawn Michaels hits the flying forearm, elbow drop, tunes of the band. Austin ducks the kick, goes for a stunner. Michaels pushes him off, goes for another super kick. Austin catches the boot, whips him around 360 into a stunner. Tyson slides in. What a fast count, by the way. Well, 1, 2, 3. Austin's the champion.
One of the things you never get the entire match is you never hear whatchamacallit, you never hear anybody even at any point mention what the hell a special enforcer is supposed to be. So I'm just going to assume at this point that special enforcers a combination of referee and somebody who's supposed to calm the match down.
Well, when I think of the term special enforcer, it's like the guy who's supposed to stop outside interference. But since, until that little swerve at the end where, he turns on Michaels, he was aligned with the bad guys. So you would think he would like beat up Austin when the ref isn't looking, but I think that was kind of asking a little bit too much of Tyson. So they just kind of had him do like this one spot.
That's true, but they could have at least made it quick. Like, oh yeah, by the way, the enforcer has, in the event that the referee goes down, he can perform as a referee, or he has the duties of a referee.
Austin is the new champion. He throws Mike Tyson one of his T-shirts, who I think he was expecting to put it on, but Tyson just kind of holds it up like,
I did like what he did with it after the fact, though. Did you see what he did with it after the fact?
I know Shawn Michaels took it and threw it in the crowd.
Yeah, dude, he took it and threw it in the crowd because after Michaels got hit in the face by Tyson, he sold that shit like a champion, and basically like just didn't even move. Like he literally was like holding his breath in so people wouldn't even think he was breathing. And then Tyson goes over and takes the shirt, the Austin shirt, and places on top of him like he's about like he literally just like put an American flag over a dead soldier. Like that's
shit.
literally how badass it was.
He did do that.
And that Austin basically threw up the middle fingers in that spot, and they both walk out. So it made sense that when Michaels finally woke up, the first thing he's going to do is chuck that shit in the crowd.
This would be the start of Stone Cold Steve Austin's run, and we would say goodbye to Shawn Michaels, at least for the time being. And I do know he makes some sporadic appearances, later on this year in like the early 90s. But beyond that, I mean, he's done as an in-ring performer because he has to go get back surgery. But
really fun.
But before that, final thoughts on WrestleMania 14. How do you feel about it?
Oh, it was pretty good in some areas. It's definitely a return to form for the earlier WrestleManias, where it was a combination of like special stars combined with wrestlers. If you're just gonna watch it for 3 matches, your 3 matches better be Taker, Kane. That's the top match. I'll definitely give credit to the main event, and then the only other match I would say that's even semi worth watching is the Rock Shamrock match. Because until I can figure out how China pulled off that salt spot, I don't really care what anybody says. Like that was a bigger bullshit ending than the Shamrock ending.
Yeah, I thought WrestleMania 14 was okay. I think it did more for building the future than it did for in the moment. As far as matches go, they kind of ranged in quality. They all had something different to offer. What I call these WrestleMania quality matches, a lot of those, no.
Are you telling me you didn't? You're gonna tell me that light heavyweight title match wasn't important to you?
That's funny.
Are you telling me you didn't love watching the tag team of Bombastic Bob and Bodacious Bart?
Bob Holly with the long hair. How could you not love it?
Yeah, I mean, technically he's always had long hair, but he dyed his hair. Remember that? Because he almost goes with like a brownish hair in this one, compared to the black hair he had when he was part of the NASCAR gimmick.
Jesus fucking Christ!
Oh, I missed the NASCAR gimmick. Go team!
Oh, that was WrestleMania 14. I am Bro with Glasses with the insanity.
No, the definition of insanity is not what you think it is. Stop saying that shit.
And we will see you on the next one.